Hey everybody, Yogi here, doing well, hope you're doing well. We are in Peshtigo, Wisconsin today, and we are checking out the Peshtigo Historical Society Museum and Peshtigo Fire Museum. Now unfortunately, with me is that guy behind me. That's Janie at the couch, paranormal author and investigator as well. And we are going to go in here and check it out. Now, unfortunately, I cannot film. I asked for if I could film, and they said no, which is fine. But they said I was able to take pictures. So I took a bunch of pictures in there, and I'll do some talking, some overdubbing on that. So we're going to go inside now, and I'll show you what the museum has to offer. There's a cemetery that's next to it with a mass grave. We'll show you that as well, and we'll get back to you after the tour. When Wisconsinites talk about wildfires, it's often in reference to smoke traveling down from Canada or the West Coast. Being in the relatively humid Midwest, Wisconsin isn't usually thought to be in danger of fires. Yet the deadliest wildfire in America's history occurred in northeastern Wisconsin. On October 8th and 9th, 1871, the thriving village of Peshtigo in Marinette County was demolished and nearly half of its residents killed as fire consumed the town. Although 4 other large fires burned simultaneously across northern Michigan, this conflagration is now known as the Peshtigo Fire. Between July and September, a persistent ridge of high pressure extended from the Central Plains into the Midwest. This led to warm and dry conditions across this region that extended into the fall season. The forests of northeastern Wisconsin were being logged for timber at the time. Settlers were clearing land for agriculture and local industry. Wasteful land use practices meant that some timber was discarded and later burned to clear debris. Very low relative humidity was reported during the week before the fire, which reduced the moisture content of dead logs, branches, and brush on the forest floor. While the origin of the spark that started the wildfire has never been officially determined, it's possible that it was a brush fire that got out of control. A volunteer weather observer just 60 miles southwest of Peshtigo reported seeing smoke from several ongoing local fires on October 8th. The weather conditions helped create the perfect storm that allowed the rapid spread of the fire on October 8th. A low-pressure system was strengthening over Minnesota, while a high-pressure system was centered over the southeast region of the U.S. The difference in pressure between the two systems became greater, causing strong southwest winds to blow over Wisconsin and Michigan. By evening, strong wind fanned the smoldering flames. As the flames grew, a firestorm was created, a phenomenon that emerges when the heat from a large fire begins to create its own wind flow. The firestorm scorched a swath of land 40 miles long and 10 miles wide across the county. Peshtigo was consumed in less than 2 hours by the wall of fire. When the smoke had cleared, only 2 buildings remained. An estimated 800 village residents died. The winds carried the embers across county borders. In Door County, the community of Williamsonville was consumed by a fire whirl, a tornado of flames created by the rising heat. Tornado Memorial County Park, where 60 fire fatalities are memorialized, now stands near the site. In total, 16 towns were burned down across Brown, Oconto, and Marinette counties along the western side of the Bay of Green Bay and in Door and Kewaunee counties east of the Bay. Over 1 million acres were burned across northeastern Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Between 1,200 and 2,500 people lost their lives, and thousands were left without homes. Now we have entered the museum, and this is kind of what you see when you first enter the museum. We did have a tour guide. She was talking to us a little bit, told us a couple of things, showed us a couple of things. It was only about 10 minutes we spent with her. And then we were kind of told to just look around and go and check things out. This picture here is a picture, of course, a painting of the fire as it was happening in Peshtigo that evening. There's an interesting story behind that particular piece. It was saved from the fire, and then it was gone for a while, and then it somehow managed to make its way back. Now we're looking at some period clothing from that era. This is some artifacts that are from the actual Peshtigo fire. Yeah, it was really weird to see that. Here's some more older stuff, because again, you have the history museum mixed in with the fire museum, so you're seeing, you know, bits and pieces of both. On the bottom there, that's a charred piece of wood from the Peshtigo fire, and some photos. I'm not sure if it was the house that was in the picture above that. Here's an old $1 bill that was found. That was found after the fire in Peshtigo. A clump of blackberries. You really can't see them, but they're on the right side of that piece of wood. A clump of blackberries that were charred by the fire and ended up being kind of petrified. Yeah, petrified. So yeah, this is just other stuff that was in the museum. I was just, you know, since I couldn't film, I decided to just go nuts taking photos. I took like over 90 photos, just showing as much of it as I could. Some old piano players, you know, old artifacts, because part of it is the history museum as well. And here's some more pictures and stuff from the Peshtigo fire, survivors of the Peshtigo fire, another bedroom setup of how a bedroom would have looked back in the, you know, late 1800s when this took place. This is actually in 1871, so I guess it's before the late 1800s, but that was a really cool piece right there, that chandelier. I'm not sure where that came from, if that came from the fire or not. You had some more items here in the corners, some old chairs. Again, I don't know if these were items pulled from, you know, salvaged from the fire or not. This was a huge mural that they had in the back of the church up against the wall. I'll take a closer picture of that a little bit later. Here's another area where it was just kind of, you know, there was just so much to see in this museum, and just, I could have been here for like forever, you know, for hours taking photos of stuff. This is kind of a general store area where they had like, you know, old boxes of, you know, things you would find in a general store at the time. If you notice all the empty bottles up there and the empty boxes up there, you know, stuff they would have carried in a general store around that time. This is part of the school. There was a little area where they had all the school desks set up and things like that, and that's basically what that is there. That's just another, I'm not sure if that's a harpsichord or not. That might be a harpsichord, and just some photos to go along with it. This is period clothing. Again, it didn't really say if it was anything that was salvaged from the fire. It's probably just period clothing for the history museum part. That's the front of the case that I just showed you the picture of. This here is a, was it a 13-star flag? I believe it was. A 13-star flag up in the corner there. Yeah, 13-star flag from, you know, like probably predates 1871 would be my guess. I took a picture of that because it was a creepy doll. I thought, ew, that's kind of a creepy doll. So, yeah, let's take a picture of the creepy doll. Why not, eh? More stuff. They had so much stuff in there. I mean, there was no really bare areas of this museum. It was just, these are made out of hair. Hair pieces. Back in the day, they would take human hair and make pieces with human hair, and that's what that was. Another keyboard, and some other items on there. Some other dated items are on that. Some pictures of the fire. Right after the fire, I did show some of those earlier in the episode, but yeah, those are some of the fire photos right after the Peshtigo fire. So those are actual photos of what was left of Peshtigo. And these were just kind of pictures of what Peshtigo looked like beforehand. They had like those, you know how those posters come in those swinging doors? You have posters on both sides that swing out and swing over. that's what this was. I just kind of was taking photos. Like I said, I just kind of went a little bit crazy taking the photos, but I wanted to because I just wanted to capture as much as I could. There's some old phonographs and radios from probably the 1930s, 20s, 10s. There's that big mural that was on the back of wall of the former church. Really neat mural. Really neat mural. Now we're kind of going into the kitchen area. There was a kitchen area that you walked off of the main floor. And again, it's just a dated 1800s, early 1900s maybe, kitchen setup, which I thought was pretty interesting. So I took a photo of that. And here's some more stuff from the kitchen area. A lot of stuff to do with the fire. A lot of drawings, a lot of artwork, a lot of just neat artifacts. And then you kind of went down this little hallway, and there were some more radio displays, and then you go downstairs into the basement, and this is what was in the basement. More stuff. Not really pertaining to the Peshtigo fire. This is more like history stuff. So, took a photo of all these animals here and thought, yeah, that looks kind of cool. I think, I'll take a photo of that. And then we took a photo of all this stuff as well, everything in cases. Again, if you wanted to look at everything and just really, really go in depth, it would have took hours and hours, at least 4 hours to go through everything in there. The layout was pretty cool. I mean, they had it so they didn't have everything blocked off. You could go up and down aisles and kind of, you were free to go and see things up close. That was a phone you just saw, an old phone, and now I just took a shot of like pretty much the whole basement area from the corner of the basement. A lot of stuff in there. And there's some cameras, old camera equipment. It was just so neat. A lot of saws, a lot of tools in this particular shot here. That's what they used back in the day, That you didn't have Milwaukee products, that's for sure. Some baseball stuff. Again, this stuff downstairs is mainly historical society stuff. It didn't really pertain to the Peshtigo fire. And then we had this beautiful little display here of army uniforms and a flag, and that kind of went around the corner. And there was some more stuff here. Kind of gave me MASH vibes. It reminded me of MASH a little bit, the TV series. For those of you who are older, you know what MASH is all about. And then there was this little section here. It kind of looked like I'm not sure if this kind of looked more like a horseshoe type, place. Washing stuff, some washing equipment. Back in the old days, that's how they used to wash clothes. Another picture down the aisle of some more things. Just so much stuff to look at. Some old baby cribs and some more, like there was a baby high chair there in the right corner. Then I took a closer picture of all the saws, like there's ice cutting saws, and it was just neat. Wood, some of the wood cutting saws, and it was just kind of cool. And here is a display of areas where you can go pay your respects to people who perished in the Peshtigo fire. So that was kind of neat. That was kind of creepy, seeing those old wheelchairs. It kind of reminded me of the movie The Changeling. When I saw those, I just thought George C. Scott and The Changeling. I thought that was ironic because there was a no smoking sign in the basement area, and of course a fire was started not by smoking, mind you, but there was a fire. Some luggage, nothing too spectacular there, just some older styles of luggage. And then we went into this little side room, and this was in the side room. There were a couple boats, there was some more like farm equipment, just some odds and ends, like there were drills, I think I saw some dental equipment in this particular room. As we move along here, musical instruments. There were a lot of musical instruments in this particular room, which I thought was cool because of, you know, being a musician. So I kind of thought that was kind of neat. There's a bigger case. That's a wider shot of the case where all the instruments were in there. I thought it was pretty neat. Yeah, so this is, I believe, the dental stuff here in the corner. Dental stuff and a bell. Again, you know, they had a very good selection of stuff. Just a wide angle shot of, you know, some more stuff there. Neat. And the fact that it was free and all they asked for was a donation, that made it more, you know, more worth it to me. Wooden boat there in the corner. That's kind of neat, that wooden boat there. Just some more artifacts, you know, some more artifacts, some more stuff. Well, what is that there? That's one of those kind of like hammer of justice scales, if you want to call it that. The scale of sorts. Then they had a neat little section here for firefighters, a little tribute, if you will, to the firefighters. Yeah, it was a good time. It was fun. Some old stoves, really old stoves. They don't make them like that anymore, do they? No, they do not. Those were pretty neat looking. Not sure what this little area was here. This looks like more, you know, just more photos of stuff, maybe some accolades. And then there was like this room with all these dolls, creepy dolls, and, you know, in cribs and stuff. And I was just like, yeah, I'll take a picture. I couldn't get closer. So then we ended up going outside, and right next to the church, that's the church on the right. That is a memorial to the fire. And then right next to that on the left is the cemetery. And the cemetery is interesting. It's pretty small. It's not a huge cemetery, but it's very, very hilly. And there were a lot of really, really cool old graves on the grounds. And there were some graves that had little signs like, well, not like this one. This is just an in memoriam to Peshtigo. And then as we wandered, there's the church, and then we're on the graveyard some more. I'm just taking pictures at this point, just kind of catching as much of the cemetery as I can. Like I said earlier, this is one that had an actual plaque next to it. This was somebody who perished in the fire. Just kind of tells a brief story about it. This is kind of a generalized summary of the Peshtigo fire, and then that's the historical marker that was the previous picture, 1951, and there's a close-up picture of that. Again, folks, you might be able to read it on the TV if you want to pause it. I couldn't film outside either, which I thought was kind of strange. You know, I can see not filming inside in the museum itself, but, you know, the cemetery grounds are part of the museum, and I asked if I could film the cemetery, and I was told I couldn't, which I thought was kind of odd because, I mean, I could have been on the other side of the fence filming the cemetery, you know, walking down the sidewalk, but, you know, it was what it was. I just thought it was kind of goofy to just not let us film outside. This is the mass grave plaque. And that there is where the mass grave of Peshtigo fire victims. I'm not sure how many people are estimated to be buried there. Another older headstone that has a plaque. I took a picture of the headstone, and then I took a picture of the plaque closer. So if you want to pause it, you can. You know, I didn't realize this at first, but that's what I should have did with all of the photos. I should have taken a close-up photo so you could pause it and read all about it. So the same thing's going to be here. It's just a picture of the gravestone and the plaque, and then the next photo will be a close-up of the plaque. So you can read the plaque, pause it, and read about that. Yeah, I mean, it was a great little thing. All right, that's the Peshtigo Historical Society Museum. Pretty cool place. Lots of cool artifacts, lots of neat stuff. Very big area. There's an upstairs, not upstairs, but there's the main floor. Then you go down to the basement, and then there's also a side area. that has all sorts of stuff, as you saw through the pictures there. Nate, what'd you think?
Thought it was amazing.
Nate thought it was amazing. Highly recommend it.
It's free to visit, but they suggest a donation.
Right. It's free to visit. They suggested a donation, so we donated, and then we bought a couple things at the end of the tour.
Great souvenirs. Got the 1871 fire hot pad. So
nice.
How can you not get the hot pad?
So yeah, great place to visit. Again, could not film, which is fine. Cemetery was kind of cool, kind of hilly for a smaller cemetery, but it was neat nonetheless. So that'll do it from this Peshtigo Historical Society Museum and Fire Museum. Please give this a like, share, subscribe. Please subscribe. Please like. Liking is important. Give that a thumbs up.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button. You can also hype it. What else we got? We said subscribe already. Comment. Please comment, folks. Always want to know what you're thinking. So that's going to do it from Peshtigo, Wisconsin and the Peshtigo Fire Museum. Till the next episode, folks, this is Yogi with J. Nate the Couch, who's waving behind the camera. He's waving again.
Still waving.
Still waving. He's waiting for you to wave back, folks, so wave back. Now he's giving thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up.
Double finger guns.
All right, folks, that's going to do it. Take care. We'll see you next episode. Take care of yourselves, be good to yourselves, and be good to each other. We're out of here.